missing you, Rang. You did that
No,
a couple
I
weeks ago.
didn't do that today.
Kind of similar, though. And Mama K is also with us.
Hi, everyone. I don't really have a thing to say.
Tonight, we're doing Elemental. We're returning to Pixar. Haven't been there in a bit.
Yay.
And it was out in theaters earlier this year, and we didn't get to it, and we weren't rushing to it because, well, to be honest, the last couple Pixar movies have had mixed reviews from us. I've still been generally positive, although slightly underwhelmed, but you guys, on the other hand, have really started to fall off the train a little bit. What's been going on?
What's been going on?
Remember them.
You can't remember. To jog the memories, the last couple have been Lightyear.
Lightyear. Yeah.
Turning Red.
Yeah.
And what was the one before that? Luca. So those were our last three.
I thought Luca was good, and that was it. And yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did not like Turning Red, so.
Well, to be fair, before that was Soul, and before that was Onward. So another one that Soul we like, but I know, okay, not so much on the Onward.
The pants.
And Nicole, out of those ones I just read, I would say your opinion is what, each one was worse than the last?
Probably, yeah. I would say so.
You liked Onward, you were like, Soul's okay, but overrated, and then I don't think have you liked any of the last three? I don't know. Maybe you liked Luca okay.
Turning Red was okay.
Not when you reviewed it. I remember you guys both hating Turning Red when you reviewed it.
I like the pandas. I like the red pandas. Yeah.
You can find things to like about a Pixar movie, I think.
That's fair.
But whether or not it holds up to, good Pixar movies, that's the thing. So
that's a good way of explaining it.
Yeah.
That's right, the gold standard of Pixar. We're not going to go all the way back into our Pixar lore because we have an old Pixar talk episode. We have a couple standalone Pixar episodes and all of our other standalone reviews. So go back on those if you want to hear our full in-depth Pixar thoughts. We're going to stick to Elemental moving forward. In a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together, a fiery young woman and a go-with-the-flow guy discover something elemental, how much they actually have in common. This got a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, 93% with the audience, 7 on IMDb. Directed by Peter Sohn, who did The Good Dinosaur, which I don't think either of you have seen. This might be one of the only ones you haven't seen.
No, but people like that, right?
No, most people don't. I do.
Oh.
I like The Good Dinosaur. It was on I think I named it my underrated pick of Pixar movies, better than people think it is. Yeah, it's done other work on Pixar as well on the story and arts department both. So there's all the preamble. If you haven't seen it, on Disney Plus now is where it is, and we are going to spoil it now. So Element City is where we take place, and there's the elements of water, and then there's earth, and then there's air, and there is fire. In that order of kind of preferential treatment. You see at the very beginning we get a brief little mini history on how the people arrive there, and the city is built for water people primarily. A lot of the highest transportation is water-based things. The earth and the wind people get along pretty well in their own little districts and have their own powers. Fire people, on the other hand, because it's built on water, have a lot of hard times integrating into this world. It's not built for them, systemically not built for them. They don't have the same language, and this is the world we're building. Our characters we're following at the beginning are Bernie and Cinder, immigrants coming in after we learn about what happened to their home, and they set up a little fire shop, a little convenience store kind of bodega thing, and they have a daughter, Ember, and then we kind of fast forward, and Ember becomes our main character for the majority of the movie, learning to take over her father's store. She has a temper she tries to control. She's overwhelmed a lot of the time, and she is having trouble controlling her temper, and one day the store begins to flood, and a man slips through the pipes because that is what happens with the water folk, and his name is Wade Ripple, and he is a blubbering, sappy, emotional gentleman who is a city inspector, but he does not seem very passionate about his job. He seems very heartbroken about all of these horrible things he has to do every day with shutting people down, and it just makes him very emotional. So these two opposites have to, after a series of miscommunications on tickets and getting the restaurant, the stakes are the place might get closed down. The stakes are the plumbing is bad, and we don't want the city to shut down the establishment. But it's really about Ember and Wade going through the city and learning from each other and the systemic inequalities that affect both of their lives. And well, that's where we're gonna start with Elemental. Nicole, what'd you think of Elemental?
Don't you wonder what the rest of the people in the world in this movie are named? If they're all puns on things, how many puns can we have that are actually
Gale Cumulus?
Right.
What?
That's the name of the wind woman, the one who's the employer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to stop at some point. There got to be some repeats.
There's probably some repeats.
I keep calling this Eternals. And this is not
Totally
the Eternals.
I thought you didn't like Eternals.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking of what's the Disney movie with the kids that are from the villains?
Oh, Descendants?
Oh, yeah, that's not even close. I don't know why I'm thinking
These are just like one word. I mean, maybe they have similar etymology of origin. I don't know. I don't know what you're getting tangled on here.
Yeah, I don't know either. I like the world in the movie that they've created. It's very Zootopia-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there was more diving into the different aspects of the world. What is it called?
World building?
City.
Element City.
Because, having this group, the fire people that are so small, like contained in this community, there's probably so much more to explore. And I love that part of the Pixar movies is the settings and the sceneries. Like, that's what we need more of. And I think it just got stuck a little bit in having to stay in two locations, really, in my mind, which would be the fire location and then like transitioning over to Wade's house with his family for a little bit. So I did like that part of it. I guess I'm kind
like
of
how they would interact, how the different elements would interact together beyond.
Yeah, like they definitely had that in there. Yeah, I'm not going to say that they didn't. There were a lot of parts, and I'm kind of negating myself by thinking of a couple right now. But it's just more of the little things. I like the little punny things that they end up doing.
The observations, like that are like, oh, that's like our world, and that's like their version of it in their world. Like,
right.
The little relatable twists on familiar ideas.
Yeah, and like going through Zootopia, I'm just using that as a reference right now because that's so invested into the different worlds, and like they've got like 6 or 7, and we see little dabbles of each one. And I really liked that part of that film, so I thought this could have a little bit more. Olive has her little blep tongue out. It is so cute. Don't step. Okay. No.
Oh, she's stepping across the keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't hit the pause. Make sure the recording's still going. I don't want to.
Her pause. Don't let.
No pause in the pause, Golly.
Right.
But overall, I thought this was an interesting story. I like the idea that they can't interact in any sense. They would hurt each other. That's really scary and like a sad thing to think about, that they, even if they do really like each other, they can't be together. And that's a really sad thing to think about it throughout the whole movie. Like, wow, even if like they wanted to, like, there's no logical way to make this work out. So we're going to have to suspend our thought about this for a little bit, like at the end. So I didn't have much of an intention to watch this when it first came out. I wonder if it's because of the bitter taste from the last couple. I am very pleasantly surprised that we decided to watch this because I really enjoyed all of it. I had a good time watching it, and I love goofy, doofy characters, and that's exactly what's in this, and it's perfect.
Lots of goofy doofy characters. Lots of. It's very lighthearted, even though it's dealing with systemic inequality. But
right, pretty in your face too.
That's the kicking off point from Nicole to Mama K now. Elemental.
Yeah, so I think I might have gotten stuck on Pixar right around Inside Out, and I kept getting confused when this movie was being promoted and everything. Honestly, in my brain, I was like, this is Inside Out, right? No, I realized it's not. But it felt very much like that, like they're doing the same thing.
Because of the colors and, like, the different, like, okay, yeah.
There's, like, 4 of them or whatever.
Yeah, instead of feelings, now we're talking about, natural elements. And that I thought that they were going to maybe, rip that off a little too much in this. I think this is it's a big dynamic for Disney to sort of take on, and especially we're not the only people that are seeing this, slide in Disney. The Marvels just came out, and that has really not done well. And as a Disney, Pixar, Marvel person, I don't really have that much excitement about seeing any of those types of things.
So you're think there's the whole thing is sliding. The whole cheese is slipping off the cracker. All of it.
Yeah, I mean, do I have a leg to stand on here? I really think so. I can't think of. I mean, Disney as a whole has kind of been in trouble a little bit, and definitely the Pixar situation. Yeah, they haven't put out a Star Wars movie in a long time. Part of it, I think, especially in the Marvel Star Wars world, is that it's oversaturated with all the streaming you can do. I don't think that affects Pixar as much.
I don't think so.
Yeah, the thing let's get back to the movie though. The thing about Elemental that I didn't enjoy, because I did enjoy the movie, was everything is wavy all the time. Like, that's not my Pixar.
I understand what she's talking about.
Yeah, the fire is wavy. The water is wavy.
This is a Jess complaint. This is such a Jess
texture
complaint.
on everything. Like 3D.
The clouds.
It's a new animation.
Wavy.
It's a new take on the old Pixar anime. Like it's an updated, but like a. I understand what you're saying. You're right. Everything pulsates and moves all the time because it's elements.
Yes.
So the wind is blowing around, the water is blah, 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 all the time. The fire is like flickering and like little pieces go up and like I hear what you're saying. And I also noticed it maybe first 5 or 10 minutes before I kind of adjusted to the style. But I do the same thing with the Spider-Verse movies. I love that style. It does take it takes me adjusting, but I can adjust to most animation styles because I like exploring the medium, but yeah, I noticed it too. I noticed the weight.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that. I actually did not enjoy that at all.
Different strokes.
Yeah, but story-wise, I think the music was fairly on point for me. I was enjoying that and everything that was happening in the background. I understand what Nicole's saying about not being able to. I really think that we weren't able to explore, at least 2 of the 4 elements very much. I think they missed an opportunity to bring in the awesome 70s band Earth, Wind and Fire at some point.
That would have been a nice twist.
I would have loved that so much. But
that's not allowed in the Element City because it's a water centric world. So you're gonna leave out the most important element in your song, in your band.
Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, this movie has a big theme. And wavy lines, and I still got on board. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we're turning a corner here.
I'm glad you guys both like this because I think this is their best movie since Soul. It's definitely not like Head and Shoulders. It's not breaking into the A tier, which is so hard to do with Pixar nowadays. It's
right.
I don't know if a studio made so many hits so insanely. It's just I don't know if it could be replicated, but this is like a welcome return to form. It gave me everything I look for in a Pixar movie. It gets the tears at the end, thankfully, like a big streamy boys, big thick streaming tears at the end, not like a little, I think the only Pixar movie to never make me cry is like the Cars movies, and oh no, that's not even true. Cars 2 did not make me cry. Cars 2 and Lightyear, that's really about it. But big streamy tears in this one. Yeah, I guess we're probably gonna do more nitpicks because we're all on like agreement on it's generally good. But like the picks are like the metaphor does not quite fully map very well to whatever it wants to be. I think race is probably number one. You could do class as well. You could do just general immigration, nationality. Like it doesn't have to be quite as black and white. It could be like the fire people are clearly an amalgamation of any immigrant type. Like, and they speak Fire-ish. Like they literally like have a different language that's in subtitle, not in subtitle. So you the viewer are like, I don't understand what they're saying, kind of thing. So
then when they're speaking English, the older people of the fire people have broken English. So
yeah, and they mix it in seamlessly. Again, awesome details that I like. Where I'm like, Pixar. Even when they're not on the top of the game, they're taking care of me, and that's what I never. That's why I'll always come back, is because I know they're never gonna not give a shit. But the metaphor doesn't map super cleanly, because like if we're gonna compare like fire and water have literally different properties. Like humans, while we have many shapes and sizes, we generally are capable of doing the same things, and physics affects us the same way, right? Like,
we are human.
Exactly. Like if fire and water are not the same thing, and earth and winds, like these are not all even remotely, like they are completely opposing things in nature, whereas we are just different shades of human. So, and I think, and by the end, I think we are supposed to. That's why it's kind of hard at the end, because like by the time we get to the end, we have to suspend the belief of how like reality works for these things, because the metaphor is the we have differences and we can get along. So that's, again, the story works there, but I guess maybe they chose elements because that's a fun way to do that without it being so like picky on anybody. But it makes it all logically kind of be like kind of jumbly. I don't know, like it doesn't. Like you have to just kind of be like, elements work different here. It's not like elements in the real world, you know? So you get past that and like, cute story. It's a cute story. Very enjoyable.
It's a cute story, and elements have no business merging. They just, I mean, the reason that they're distinctly different is because they're distinctly different. So, you know, it's that to have it be a love story and you want, you know, a happy ending, you do have to suspend belief on this. So
I'm reading like some of the reviews on IMDb about it, and that's definitely concern between reviewers is that there's just a lot of fundamental issues with it. You know, it's not a place where the fire elements can really live. Like, it just doesn't make sense why they're there.
Right.
And which I get the metaphor then, like you know, they're saying like, oh, you come in from a immigrant person comes to a brand new place, and the world is not built for them. You know, like the waterways only run for water people, and like the fire. But
it's not even just that. It's like they own a store that still has pipes in it that need that may totally cripple their business if they break.
Their whole themselves. I mean, they could die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's not set up for them, and like, but by the end we're supposed to be like, even though it's hard, because how do they like defeat some of the problems, right? There's not really a villain in this movie. The villain in this movie is systemic racism and generational trauma. It's all, you know, it's all big ideas. There's not like people bad guys. So like how do we like overcome some of the problems? The dam breaks, and the fire, she uses her fire powers to seal it and make glass, so it like seals the dams. And they're like, oh, like we're not able to do this before because we didn't have fire people who could make big glass things and seal things. And then, you know, that's like one of the talents she discovers that she can use to, our elements don't always have to be opposing. We can use them to help each other. But then you have to also be like, well, what are is the trade-offs of all these elements living together? Can they overcome their differences and build a system that works for all of them, and then use their talents to the maximum ability? that's what they want you to believe, and that's like the kind of world I think they want, we would want to live in. But it's just because we're maybe like adults, and it's like very hard to like be like, is that really how reality works though? Like, I don't know. It's a little too maybe hopeful for a cynical grown up.
Well, reading more of these, I'm realizing that everything that we are saying is not new in the review world.
Oh, sorry. Are we late to the party? You saying? You say this is we're wasting our time
like
here.
About 2 months
because
late.
I haven't read anything.
Look, we're about 2 months late to the party. All these reviews back in September, but yeah, it's all similar, even down to the oh my god, what's the word I'm trying to think of? The comparison to Inside Out and Zootopia, as well as calling it better than Buzz Lightyear. So it's
jeez.
So we're on the same page as everyone else, basically. Like,
sounds like it, yeah.
It's enjoyable. It's got its problems. It's definitely not as good as Zootopia. Like, I thought of Zootopia on the beginning when the city entrance, because the try everything Shakira montage when the Judy Hopps goes into Zootopia for the first time, that makes me cry alone. I fucking love that movie so much. But I got that feeling at the beginning, and then even though they're similar in theme, because Zootopia is also about systemic inequality, that one does it so much better, in my opinion. Like, as far as like actually effectively getting the message across, because animals, I think, are better metaphors because they're...
Yeah.
And there's a way more diversity in that one, too. Like, this one, there's 4 elements. In that one, there are predators and prey, but among those predators and prey, there are different shapes and sizes of all things. And I think that's hews more closely as a good metaphor for humans, rather than these things which literally, like, can't... Like, you just literally can't have water and fire touch... Right. You can't do that in real life. Like, in that almost undermines the point of the movie. Like, if the point of the movie is to be like, we can overcome our issues and work together to make things better for everyone, then you have to present a reality that's reality. Because if you're saying if only water and fire could just touch each other and be fine, the world would be an amazing place, then you're basically saying the world cannot be an amazing place. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're saying if only water and fire could touch, then everything would be great. Like, but it literally cannot. So that is almost saying we literally cannot achieve this utopia. You see?
Yeah. Let's talk about the characters we liked.
Yeah. For Ember and Wade, Nicole and me for real. Like, I was like, they're just like us for real. That's what I said.
Oh my god.
They just like us for real.
I didn't even think that.
Yeah, Ember tried not to scream and yell at everyone all the time, and Wade just tried not to blubber in a pile all the time.
I liked Claude. I liked Claude. He was cute.
Claude. We always like Claude.
Dirt Claude, like the little guy that's got a crush on her.
Oh,
not Claude. Claude.
He's Ducky from 16 Candles.
I don't get that reference.
No.
He's like the little one that's gonna...
Oh, yeah.
There's no way he's gonna get the girl.
Oh, that... Okay, I'm on board.
I about the actor. I was like, I don't think
I was like, how... That's immediately what I thought. I was like, how could that child be a 60-year-old, like, from 60... Like, it's just... Whatever. And then I was like, there's a character in 16 Candles that's a dirt Claude named Claude. Like, I was lost in the woods as well. But,
never mind. And it's actually pretty in pink. It's not 16.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's not even right. It's not even
better. Yeah. I don't know that I have a character that I particularly...
Did you like the large cloud?
Gale Cumulus?
No. Gale?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I liked her.
Yeah, she's fun.
I know, but it's sort of like the thing about this movie is they're like, if they are trying to say that this is a play on systemic racism or whatever, we are using really stereotypical pieces to represent all of these elements, and that seems wrong. So you got Gale the big cloud because she's gonna be big and giant and her name is Gale, and then the girl Ember, we see a bunch of fire people. They all look relatively normal, but Ember has this waist
Defined
the size
figure
of half my pinky.
Yep.
And why is that? And then the guy at one point in the movie, which I thought was kind of funny, is like he comes out of the what's the guy's name?
Wade.
Water
Wade.
Water guy. Wade, yeah. Comes out of the water thing and he's like totally ripped and she's like, oh my God. But then he turns into dad bod and it's like, okay, well, this is super stereotypical again. Is like the girl has to look this way, but it's okay for the boy to look this way. And I'm like,
oh, Mama K.
Okay. Yeah.
That reminds me, have you seen the newest Billie Eilish post on Instagram?
I haven't.
It's basically saying that. It's like,
No!
How come...
Oh, look at that. Everyone beat us to the punch. Do we have any original ideas at all?
No. It's like, how come every...
It actually makes me feel better that at least I'm not, like, out in the middle of nowhere trying to say these things. So.
It's like, how can every male body type be praised for one way or another?
Exactly.
And every woman's body has something wrong with it. Why is that?
Is that how you guys feel? It didn't pass my mind at all. Is that really how you feel?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Don't even go there. This is not the time for that.
No.
All right. I just I
every waist is tiny. Every waist is Elastigirl. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway, that was so the
Gail's not tiny. Gail's huge, right? So she's a woman. I know.
Yeah.
She's a fucking cloud. Give me a break. She's a cloud.
No need to throw such derogatory terms around. I mean,
she's a puff.
She
can be very small if half of her body blows away.
Yeah, they're not. By the way, not fire people. These people of fire. Let's have a little respect.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And also, the mom in the fire world disappears for a period of time, and I'm like,
well, she's doing like shaman shit. Why is she a shaman? You know what?
She's a fortune teller.
Why is she a shaman and he's a keeper of the fire? I don't understand how they're splitting this up. Like, what is happening with that?
I think it's just more.
But she's gone for.
Well, I think
she's gone for a good portion of the movie, and then all of a sudden she's back again. And at one point I was like, did I fall asleep and she died and I don't remember?
You thought she died?
Why in Disney movies is the mom always absent at some point? Like, it's just, what is happening?
It's more stereotyping of the quote, air quoting, immigrant story where the dad has to earn a living by working till he's 85 at a bodega, and the mom has to do some snake oil fucking palm reading to make it by.
Right. At least she's not cleaning houses. Like,
yeah.
She could be doing
You're telling me not every immigrant family owns a little store with a bunch of stuff in it, and then the woman's in the back doing her whooshy shit that you... I mean, the stereotypes for a reason. I lived in Philadelphia. There's about 5,000 of these stores, and of all,
it's pretty much that.
Don't even know what's going on in the back of those things.
Well, I mean, maybe the mom is the one that I kind of like. I didn't really care for Wade. Wade was way too watery for me. I need something more substantial than a Wade.
I like Wade's family. I like when they go and meet his family, and
Wade's family is pretty cool. I dig them. Yeah. We don't get to see a lot of that though.
That's what I'm saying. There needs to be more of that.
That's actually really great. Yeah. There was, and the movie it's not like the movie was too long or too short or anything. It's not like they couldn't have done that. I'm trying to figure out what did they do instead of that. I mean, there were some cool action scenes when they're riding like a scooter. I liked that.
I think a lot of the time filling is them, I would say, kind of conversing. Like it's kind of more of it's like a love story at its core. So that's like,
it is a love story.
That's why I think I liked it so much. Like I liked both of our leads. I liked both of our voice actors. Specifically, I liked Wade. I liked Mamadou Athie, our boy from Archive 81. It's really enjoying some of the things he's in.
Mamadou is one of those actors whose voice is so distinct that you can't picture him except his face. Like, I just picture his face.
Wait a minute. Is that the guy that was just in the movie
The Burial
about the funeral homes?
Yeah, he was the assistant guy. He was like the young up and coming guy.
New attorney.
Yeah. He's good in this. Like I like he stood out in a couple of things I've seen him in. I'm like, oh, that guy's got a little thing to him, so keep an eye on Mamadou. But
I don't know what you just did, but you made the funniest sound.
yeah, you gotta keep an eye on Mamadou. That's all I'm saying. You gotta keep an eye on him. He's doing good things. They go to the stadium. Remember this? There's a whole thing with the stadium. She wanted to go in, this little kid, and then no fires allowed. You're too dangerous in here. He's gonna hold. But that's the thing. You can't have fire in an open stadium full of, because it could actually explode, like lighted fire. This is the problem. And so, like, what do? Like, that's kind of a difficult.
Well, apparently she has fire retardant clothing, so she might as well just throw a fire blanket over herself and walk in there because nothing she wore blew up.
Yeah, she could have just put that fire hoodie on. She would have been fine.
I suppose. The whole point too is like, it's like, build. You got to build a thing so that every type of person can succeed in the place on as close to an equal ground as possible. That's just a lot of work, and like, whose responsibility is that? Like, and who can actually execute it? Like, all of that is like part of the reality part of like, well, that would be nice if we could do that, but who will execute it? Who's responsible for this? And someone has to do it, like, and they have to want to do it, and so it's just very difficult to get all that, get everyone swimming in the same direction and wanting to do that, especially if some people already got their nut and some people are mad at the people who don't have the nut, and like, so why would I help you? And that's the whole thing. So,
Yeah. I mean, outside of the fire people, it seemed like a copacetic community.
Well, I mean, I guess as long as the other three elements seem to have integrated enough to this point. We didn't get a wind or an earth aspect to get what's it like to be the, in quotations, second and third people to arrive to the city and colonize it. And
they're in danger, first off, because when she gets onto the bus, she accidentally touches that one bushman and he fucking imploded.
It's true.
They're in danger.
It is played. It's played for laughs, but it's true. It is dangerous.
It's actually done really well.
It's enjoyable. There's a lot of good gags in this. Yeah. It's good gags.
There are good gags in this. This is like Pixar needed that, and that kind of stuff was lacking in some of the more recent.
Yeah, there was enough. There was enough like consistent laughs, general chuckle, smile feeling, and then the emotional, teary parts that I need at the end to resonate, not quite with the top tier of Pixar's, but the upper middle pack for me, like the 10 through 15 range, the still 4-star movies. And I like, despite the, I don't like the fire water can necessarily, like, I don't like that from a reality versus storytelling perspective. From the storytelling perspective, it's like, it's cool. If only it weren't fire and water real things that don't make sense in the real world. If only it were something else that could work as like, oh, we didn't think. What if it was a chocolate and my peanut butter? That would have been like, like, oh, it's actually better together. Like, we had no idea. Like, I don't know. Like, it has to suspend reality. But I do like that the daughter, because at the beginning I'm like, how does the daughter not take over the shop with Wade, or Wade takes over the shop and the daughter does something with it's something stupid, and the daughter doesn't.
What's gonna happen?
The daughter doesn't take over the shop because she realizes it wasn't her dream, and I like that she goes back against like the dad always saying like, good, you're a good girl, take over the shop, and she's like, no, I just had all this pressure in my head to take over this thing. That's why I was so angry. My anger is so misplaced. I'm not angry at all these other things. I'm angry that I feel like I have to be this certain person, and I don't want to be this certain person. I want to be my own person. And then she goes out and does her own thing, and that is like what helps her deal with her anger, is that she figures out where it's misplaced, and it's like she like healthily realizes it at the end. That's what I like about this, is that she realized like the villains are all our own internal problems, and it's no one's fault. It's the system's fault, and like, it's not my fault that my dad made me I feel like I have to be in charge of the shop, and good girl, like it's like bad conditioning where like, it doesn't matter how I feel because I'm doing so well, and my parents are telling me I'm doing well, so there's I might feel all this horrible torment inside, but everyone around me is telling me I'm doing the right things, so I'll just keep doing this, and that, and then she realizes she can't do that anymore, and she goes and does her own thing, and her father accepts her for not running the store, which is nice. So I like that. I like all that.
That's my favorite part of this movie, is that little lesson, because it really is just her going against herself, and it's the brain noise inside of her head that is controlling all of this and making her so unhappy.
It's
and
great.
The realization of that and being able to act on it is super commendable.
And I love that, like, there are systemic things that hold her back. There are things that are harder for her than other people because of the way the world is, and she's angry at them, and just like her parents are angry at them, but they're not really angry at those things. Her dad is mad that he left and that his dad thinks he's a traitor to them because he left. So he has to internalize that all the time. No wonder he's lashing out at these water people. I'm not lashing out at the water people. I'm lashing out at my own self for being so mad because my dad didn't give me the approval. And I love that at the end they get to a healthy place, like the dad and the daughter and Wade, and like it's not a CGI fight at the end. It's not a big monster we have to fight. It's we have overcome our personal issues. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's your brain, it's your ego, and
we suffer so much more in our heads than we do in reality, and especially with how unconnected people have been.
Go to therapy, Brennan? Just asking.
I've been doing some work actually, but not therapy. I've been doing my own work, and I feel great actually. So Thank you for noticing. Do we have any other elemental bits? Nicole, you I'm assuming you were just reading more reviews of maybe someone else who realized a lot of truths while
the same
watching
things
this.
We did.
Yes,
Nothing different. Actually,
nothing different.
Just more to further encourage what we've said is someone mentioned that the scenery and background is beautiful, but the characters are very ugly.
Yes,
we've kind of had a mix around of all these thoughts. So it sounds like we agree with the common consensus. And what does that mean for a recommend? Nicole, do you recommend Elemental?
Yes.
Lovely, Mama Kay.
Resounding yes. It's a yes.
Oh yeah, Pixar's back, baby. Like it went anywhere. 3 recommends for Elemental. Oh, wonderful. Oscar season, so hopefully more solid recommends, good feelings, good stuff for the next couple months. And then
we're gonna try.
We're gonna try. We got a good Thanksgiving-y kind of movie. We got a Holdovers coming up, or a good holiday movie. I don't know if it'll be a feel-good movie, but it'll be a feel movie. And then I don't know. Maybe we'll do Marvels. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how if anyone wants to. And then more things I'll talk about later when I look at the schedule. In the meantime, if you have things to recommend to us, Films with Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Also on YouTube, just look us up, Films with the Women in My Life, whatever. Look it up on YouTube. Click all the buttons that make us get stuff. And that will do it. Thank you for being on for Elemental, ladies.
Goodbye.
Ladies and women.
Ladies and women. Yeah, it's different. Till next time, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.